Salutations, everyone. Do a good deed and kill the weed. Don't huff, don't puff, keep away from that stuff. According to the National Institute on Drug Abuse, a recent government survey shows that over 98 million Americans over the age of 12 have tried marijuana at least once in their lifetime. Today, I am going to give you information about marijuana legalization. There are three main points to touch on. First, what is marijuana and how does it affect humans? Second, when and why did marijuana become illegal? Third, and finally, I will speak about the trend of states legalizing marijuana for medical purposes. What is marijuana and how does it affect humans? According to WebMD, marijuana, or cannabis sativa, is a naturally occurring plant that contains several psychoactive ingredients, including delta-tetrahydrocannabinol, also known as THC. When THC reaches the brain, it induces relaxation and a feeling of euphoria. It also typically heightens the senses and relieves pain. All forms of marijuana are mind-altering. That is, they change how the brain works. Marijuana effects on the user depends on its strength or potency, which is related to the amount of THC it contains. Marijuana affects the central nervous system as a hallucinogen and as a depressant. Heavy or daily use of marijuana affects the parts of the brain that control memory, attention, and learning. A working short-term memory is needed to learn and perform tasks that call for more than one or two steps. Now that we know what marijuana is, let's take a look at when and why it became illegal in the United States. According to an article published in Fortune magazine, marijuana has been utilized by human civilizations for thousands of years. It has been a part of the Western medicine since the early 19th century. Starting in the early 1900s, states began outlawing cannabis because it had become associated with violence and psychosis. In 1937, through the Marijuana Tax Act, the federal government effectively outlawed marijuana in spite of objections by the American Medical Association. So we have looked at what marijuana is as well as when it became illegal in the United States. Let's finally look at the current trend of states legalizing marijuana for medical purposes. More and more states are enacting legislation that legalizes medical marijuana. According to USA Today, when New Jersey passed medical marijuana legislation in 2010, it became the 14th state to legalize marijuana in some form. In addition to this, there are another 14 states that are currently considering legislation that will either legalize medical marijuana or decriminalize possession of personal amounts. In review, first we looked at what marijuana is as well as its effects on the human brain. Second, we saw when and how marijuana was prohibited in the U.S. And third, we looked at the growing number of states that have legalized or decriminalized marijuana. With a large portion of Americans having tried marijuana and more states considering legislation, it seems that the time has come for a serious debate about the legality of marijuana. Remember, do a good deed and kill the weed. Don't huff, don't puff, keep away from that stuff. Please also review the chart below showing the statistics of marijuana and legalization. Thank you for listening.